Why don't we move on here to CF Montreal? I will let you go first here because I have links to share for our newest episode of Fun Game Friday.
Well, I don't know who you have fully on your list. I can go off of what I'm
All
seeing on
right.
transfer
Let
market
me
right
let me
now.
run through what I have. You add anything left. So CF
Sure.
Montreal not doing a ton of work. However, they have added on striker Kwadu Opoku from LAFC and defender Fernando Alvarez from Pachuca, while allowing center back Rudy Camacho over to join Wilfred Nancy over in Columbus. Thoughts? Best in, best out, and grade.
Not a lot of activity, obviously. I personally, I really like the signing of Opoku. I think he showed good bits and flashes in LAFC. Granted, that's not super hard to do. LAFC are known for making people look good in the attack, but he's young, and this is a spot where he can now kind of break out of the shadow of Vela and Buanga, and this can become Opoku's team. This can become Opoku's attack. There are obviously strong attackers in this team as well. Kyoto, once he's healthy. Mason Toy has shown plenty of flashes to be successful in this team. Miljevic has good potential in the attack. I think adding him was fantastic. I really like that one. Losing Rudy Camacho and replacing him with a 19-year-old is definitely a good move as well. Get younger in the back line. I think they have obviously Montreal itself hasn't been super strong this year. They're sitting 10th right now, just outside the playoffs. Granted, they have a game in hand on DC. So uh, it's a bit of a quiet window. I think I maybe would have expected a little bit more just because they're on the brink of being in the playoffs. A little bit more might have given them that push to really solidify their spot there. But I can't really complain too much about the window. It's a pretty solid window. They didn't really lose anybody too bad. And I think they added a couple good pieces. So I think Opoku's the best in. Camacho's the only out. So obviously Camacho's the worst out. Uh, and I think grade wise, I'd give it a B minus, just because I wish they did a little bit more in the window so they could push for that playoff spot.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, so a little bit to break down here. I agree with you. It would have been nice to see something else. I feel like they were a little quiet for a team that's on the outside. And the one thing I always need to keep in mind with things like that is how much room do they actually have to work with?
Mm-hmm. That's a fair
I'm
point.
I'm not quite sure what it is, and I'm not gonna, spend the time to look it up because that might take all day with how untransparent or for our scientific folk, how opaque MLS rules are with things like that. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I agree. I think the Apoku move is good. I think it gives them a different option up there from what they've had. Adding in another defender gives them a little bit of flexibility as well. It was a massive trade to get Opoku at 1.75 mil gam. The Rudy Camacho one is interesting. I know you mentioned you liked how they got younger. However, Camacho was the massive leader back there. He had um a really, really good. I'm trying to find the number of games he had. Go over to Who Scored, our good friends at whoscored.com.
Games this season or just games overall for Montreal?
This season. I need to get a new computer. It goes too slow. What? What? Get out of here.
I've got Rudy at 19 starts, 20 appearances
Yeah,
for.
exactly. So lots of games for him. And now Joel Waterman, I think, has done very, very well. George Campbell, okay. Gabby Corbo brought him back on loan. He's not permanent there. So you go in with a center back that you might be able to flip later on. That seems to be another step forward for them. That's what they're looking for. I don't think Alvarez gets a ton of minutes right now, but it does give them options, right? When Corbo leaves, because I'm fairly certain he's on loan Do 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 do. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. No, he's not on loan. It's a permanent. Okay. Loan last year, permanent. That changes things a little bit.
they're pretty deep at center back. They got a
They're
lot of
deep.
guys
They're
there.
deeper than I thought, and they're younger than I thought, so they can stick around for a while. So you're putting a lot of work on Joel Waterman
Yeah,
to
he's got to be that new leader in the back
yep.
line.
And he's done well, but my question now is going to be, can he do what he did with Rudy Camacho next to him without him?
You know what? I'm a little surprised they didn't address
Go ahead.
fullback depth. They look to be pretty thin. I know on transfer market they have ZBG and Herrera. I know Lassi Lapalainen's been playing, I think, as a wing back.
Oh, you know that name?
I do. Now I
No
know.
way.
I'll never forget it ever again now.
Check out Fun Game Friday for that joke.
But yeah, they seem a little thin there, unless they've been playing some other guys out there that I'm not sure of.
Yeah, I think the only quote unquote letdown for me is, I'm scrolling down here. I'm looking at um transfer record over the last couple, months. They brought in 15 mil between Kone, Mihailovic, Alistair Johnston,
Mhm.
and they spent 2.5 of it. And it's not like they're not spending it on players, right? You got Bryce Duke is involved in there, Aaron Herrera. Excuse me. And we don't know what they paid for Corbo, but it feels like you could have gone in and if I double check here really quick to this, feels like there might have been a big name out there for something, right? Maybe
Yeah,
not an outside back, but you're looking at Montreal, who's got
they've got two DP spots open,
two
I
B
think.
two DP slots still open, right? That's exactly what I was going to confirm. Yeah, they still have two open. So
Yeah.
what are you waiting for, right? This could
And
be a really good time to go in, get a designated player, use this last half a season, whether you make the playoffs or not, to acclimate him to the league and let him tear it up next year. Or now you're going to get him in, with the way that the visas work, with the way that the transfer the whole nonsense happens. You're going to get him in 3 weeks before your season starts next year, if that's the way you go with your transfer policy. And you're going to wait for him to get acclimated for 3 months before he actually starts producing, or you're going to hope that he's a hit from the start. I just don't know. It feels a little bit underwhelming. I'll go C. I'll go flat C there for the grade, and I think best player in um Apoku and Camacho are your flip flops there. So
yeah, I feel like this team is the opposite of Atlanta. I think they have a really good supporting team and they're just missing the stars. Whereas Atlanta has the stars and is missing the supporting team. Like
yeah,
if this team came in and knocked it out of the park with like a really good, I don't know, number 10 and number 9, I think this team would be very tough to beat come MLS playoffs.
that is I like that a lot. That's a great little point. But we can't spend too much time on this because we have lots of teams to talk about.
I think
So
we already spent too much
I
time.
know, I know.